Ethan never believed that a signature could ruin a life, yet here he was, standing inside an office that felt colder than winter, holding a pen that weighed heavier than any burden he had ever carried. The walls were lined with expensive paintings, symbols of power, wealth, and control. None of them meant anything to him. The document on the desk did. Across from him sat Mr. Hale, calm and unmoved, as if this wasn't a negotiation about a human life. Beside the window stood Lucas Hale, tall, well-dressed, and distant. He didn't look angry. He didn't look cruel. He looked indifferent. "All debts will be cleared once this contract is signed," Mr. Hale said smoothly. "It's a simple arrangement." Simple. Ethan swallowed. His father stood behind him, shoulders slumped, eyes full of shame. The company had failed. Loans had piled up. This marriage was the price. Ethan glanced at Lucas, hoping foolishly for something: sympathy, regret, resistance. Lucas met his gaze for a brief second, then looked away. That was the moment Ethan understood. This marriage was never meant to include feelings. With trembling fingers, he signed his name. The wedding happened quietly. No celebration, no music, no family smiles or blessings, just legal papers, two witnesses, and a promise neither of them had chosen. When the officiant announced them as married, Ethan felt nothing but a hollow ache in his chest. Lucas didn't reach for his hand, didn't smile, didn't say a word. That night, they arrived at the Hale mansion, large, luxurious, and unbearably empty. "You'll stay in the West Wing," Lucas said, his voice controlled and distant. "We'll act married in public. Privately, we keep our distance." Ethan nodded. He didn't trust his voice. As the door closed behind him, Ethan sat on the edge of the unfamiliar bed and stared at the ceiling. The room was beautiful, yet it didn't feel like his. Marriage, he realized, could feel lonelier than being alone. Days passed, then weeks. Living with Lucas was like living beside a wall made of ice. Lucas woke early, left for work, and returned late. Their conversations were polite and empty. "What time is the event?" "7. We'll arrive together." Nothing more. At public gatherings, Lucas played the perfect husband, hand on Ethan's back, calm smile, gentle tone. People admired them, complimented them. Ethan learned quickly that appearances could lie beautifully. One evening, during a formal dinner, someone laughed and said, "You're lucky, Mr. Hale. Your husband is so quiet and well-behaved." Lucas smiled. Ethan forced a smile too. That night, alone in the West Wing, Ethan pressed a pillow to his face so no one would hear him cry. Ethan tried not to hope, but hope was stubborn. He noticed small things: how Lucas preferred tea over coffee, how his shoulders stiffened when tired, how his voice softened slightly when he thought no one was listening. Sometimes, late at night, Ethan imagined what it would be like if this marriage wasn't forced. If Lucas chose him. Everything changed the night Lucas was injured. It was raining heavily when Ethan received a call. "A car accident, minor injuries," they said. His heart raced as he reached the hospital. He waited outside the room, hands clenched, breathing shallow. Lucas looked surprised to see him. "You didn't need to come," Lucas said. "I wanted to," Ethan replied before fear could stop him. Lucas stared at him for a long moment, something unreadable in his eyes. "Thank you." It was the first genuine word Lucas had ever given him. That night, Ethan stayed until Lucas fell asleep. For the first time, the distance between them felt smaller. After that, things slowly shifted. Lucas came home earlier. Sometimes he asked Ethan how his day was. Sometimes they sat together in silence, drinking tea, watching the rain fall outside the windows. Once, Ethan made a small joke. Lucas laughed. The sound was soft and surprised, as if it escaped him by accident. Ethan memorized it. For a moment, he believed dangerously that this marriage might become real. Then the truth shattered everything. Ethan overheard the conversation by accident while passing the study. "You don't love him," Mr. Hale said. "This marriage was never permanent." There was a pause. "I know," Lucas replied quietly. Ethan felt the world tilt. That night, he packed his bags. He left a note on the desk. "I always knew this marriage wasn't real. I just didn't know how real my feelings would become." Lucas found the empty room, the untouched bed, the silence. For the first time in years, something inside him broke. He realized late that Ethan had become the only place where his life felt warm. Lucas confronted his father. "I won't divorce him." Mr. Hale laughed. "Love doesn't erase contracts." "No," Lucas said, "but I'll pay the price myself." Lucas found Ethan days later. Standing in front of him, Lucas did something he had never done before. He knelt, I never wanted to hurt you, he said, voice shaking. But I don't want a life without you. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Then don't choose the contract, he whispered. Choose me. Lucas took his hand. I already have. This time, there were no papers, no obligations, just two people choosing each other freely. For the first time, marriage didn't feel like a cage. It felt like home. The house was quiet in a way it had never been before. Not empty, not cold, just calm. Morning light spilled through the tall windows, brushing softly across the bed where Ethan lay half awake, listening to the slow rhythm of another heartbeat beside him. Lucas's arm was draped over his waist, worn and steady, as if it belonged there, as if it always had. Ethan turned slightly, careful not to wake him. He studied Lucas's face, in the quiet, relaxed now, unguarded, no masks, no walls. Just the man who had once been distant and unreachable, now sleeping close enough that their breaths tangled. It still felt unreal. Forced marriages were not supposed to end like this. Yet here they were. Lucas stirred, eyes opening slowly. When he saw Ethan watching him, he didn't pull away. He smiled, soft, familiar, real. You're awake, Lucas murmured. So are you, Ethan replying, voice gentle. Lucas reached up, brushing his thumb across Ethan's cheek with unhurried care, like he was learning him all over again. I like mornings now, Lucas said quietly. Ethan's chest tightened. You never did before. I never had a reason to. They moved through the day, without rush. No schedules, no appearances to maintain, no pretending. In the kitchen, Ethan cooked while Lucas leaned against the counter, watching him with a look that still made Ethan's heart skip. What? Ethan asked, smiling. I was thinking, Lucas said, stepping closer, about how strange it is. What is? That I spent so long believing love was a weakness. Lucas's hand settled at Ethan's waist, not demanding, just present. Ethan leaned into the touch without thinking. And now? Ethan asked. Lucas lowered his forehead to Ethan's. Now it's the only thing that feels strong. They stayed like that for a long moment, breathing each other in. No rush, no fear. When Lucas kissed him, it was slow and deep, full of everything they had once been denied. Not desperation but certainty, the kind that came from choosing someone again and again. Ethan's fingers curled into Lucas's shirt, grounding himself in the reality of it. I'm still afraid sometimes, Ethan admitted softly. Lucas pulled back just enough to look at him. Of what? That one day, you'll realize this life is heavier than the one you had before. Lucas didn't answer right away. Instead, he took Ethan's hand and pressed it over his chest. Then feel this, he said. It's not obligation. It's not duty. It's you. Ethan's eyes burned. Lucas kissed his knuckles, then his wrist, slow and reverent, as if every touch was a promise. That night, the rain returned. They sat by the window, wrapped in quiet, city lights flickering beyond the glass. Ethan rested against Lucas's shoulder, tracing absent circles against his arm. Do you regret it? Ethan asked suddenly. Lucas turned to him. Regret what? The marriage. The way it started. Lucas thought for a moment, then shook his head. I regret that I didn't fight sooner, he said honestly. That I didn't see you when you were right in front of me. He lifted Ethan's chin gently. But this. He pressed a kiss to Ethan's lips, lingering. This is not a mistake. They moved to the bedroom together, not with urgency, but with trust. The kind that came from knowing you were safe. Lucas's hands were careful, attentive, learning every reaction, every quiet breath. Ethan responded with equal devotion, meeting every touch, every unspoken question. There was no need for words. Everything important had already been said. When they finally lay together, the world outside faded into nothing but rain and warmth and shared breaths. Lucas brushed Ethan's hair back, pressing a kiss to his temple. I will choose you, he said quietly, every single day. Ethan closed his eyes, heart full, body warm, soul finally at rest. I know, he whispered. And for the first time, love didn't feel borrowed. It felt permanent.